When we first started, we didn't really think about it at all, and it wasn't until we did our first couple of shows and actually bought all the alcohol for the parties. And kind of the first show we had here was Thomas Campbell and Alex Copps, and it was huge. Like we probably had like 600-700 people, and the crowd spilled out into the courtyard, and I think we'd bought about 30 cases of beer. It's like it cost us heaps of money, and like the beer ran out within like an hour or something, and we're like, whoa, we're gonna have to, if we want to do a show every month, we're gonna have to like work this out because it's gonna cost us a lot. And like we were putting beer out and like people were drinking it like warm. It was like, what the hell's going on here?
It's hard to come by very good evidence of the effects of sponsorship. They typically are sponsoring a few events or a one-off event, and looking at the effects on sales or reputation from one event is, by definition, you know, you've got one data point. It's really hard to make inferences about what's going on from one data point.
Drink companies basically want to try and work out how to sell more drinks to more people. And there are obvious limits in how you can sell drink to people because, you know, there are limits to what the body can take. So what you then need to do is divide the world up into different sets of consumers, work on the things that will appeal to different groups and make sure you're covering the whole spread.
We released Pale Ale in actually 1988. It took a while to get going, but what we did, we concentrated straight away on the universities and the arts. The arts particularly was a strong point for us, because the areas where people I call a thinking drinker, so those areas were much more aligned and also cost effective for us to be able to market to.
I like the idea of us having a sponsor that no one really else had, like that you came here and kind of, that Asahi was kind of, I don't know, it was a special kind of thing, like it was a kind of like a premium product, and we thought that what we were doing here was a premium kind of thing as well.
The sort of holy grail today in marketing is to try and market in terms of whole lifestyles, to anticipate the elements of a lifestyle that your potential consumers value, and then insert your product into that.
It's a widespread belief that Joe does it, so we need to be doing it. And this is what I was taught as an undergraduate in a marketing course, and these are the sorts of things we should be doing, or this was my training, you know, over the last 20 years in the companies I worked with, and they all did it, so I should be doing it here too. And that's not to say that it doesn't work. I'm being very cautious about what I'm saying, in that if you want to know whether it works and actually how effective it is, we know how to do that. And most companies are not doing that.
We can't market the same as the others. If we go into market the same or advertise the same as Foster's or Lion Nathan, we're going to be buried by the numbers and buried by the pure size of those companies. But also that would destroy our product, because what people do all around Australia today is they identify Coopers with something selective, something special.
We don't want it to be just something where kind of like we're just taking a product off you, and you know, we'll put a logo somewhere and that's it. That's why we kind of like came up with this idea that it was kind of, we work together and do something creative, and it's come out really well. Like we've used artists that we've worked with the magazine and the gallery before. It all started where we were drinking out of the Asahi glasses, and I'm sure the frosted glasses with the two symbols on it, Asahi. And we're just saying how cool they were, just kind of like it's such a nice glass, and it'd be pretty cool to do, like, put some art on it and just, you know, see how that looked. And so we approached Asahi, and they said, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, find us 6 artists. So we found 6 artists that we work with. Pomia, Alex Copps, Becky Orphan, Jonathan, Stefan, and Luca. And kind of, they're all really into the idea. And so then we got all these like initial mock-ups of all the glasses, and we sent them out to the artists, and they were all pretty happy with it. And then from there we got all their sketchbooks and kind of like sketches, kind of like referencing kind of, it had to have something to do with the Japanese culture, like all the glasses. They had to have some kind of like Japanese influence, I guess, in the artwork.
Yeah, I picked up on, I mean, I've sort of been interested in bits and pieces of Japanese art stuff for ages and ages. And initially I was going to explore different parts of Japanese cartoons and Studio Ghibli cartoons and different animation stuff, and do something with that. But in the end I kind of went back to ink paintings and that sort of stuff, and just did a simpler juxtaposition between that and sort of, I guess, the more obvious Japan bright lights kind of culture.
We also asked them to kind of like contribute a few pieces so for the group show, so it had a bit more of a kind of a collection of their work that they're doing now. And yeah, I think it turned out really well. I was actually really surprised, kind of, because you never know.
I find these things a really difficult space to do stuff in normally, because all the people involved want it to feel like art and want it to feel like something that, I don't know, you would have done anyway maybe, or you know, that would have come from some sort of place more creatively honest than it really is, maybe. I definitely approached this totally as a design thing, and everything I put in the show was design-oriented work. It wasn't art stuff or personal kind of work. I thought about it completely as a design brief, I guess, in thinking about that it was going on a glass, the requirements for printing on that glass, so what I could do that was going to reproduce well. And yeah, it was far more like the work for modular, or even slightly even straighter work, I guess, maybe even more like fashion illustration work.
The sets of meanings that the marketers want to cluster around their brand name, they're going to choose different kinds of events, different kinds of publication, and really the aim is to somewhat collapse the difference between that culture and the marketing message.
The context itself influences and becomes part of the feature set of the product.
It's about relating with people closely instead of just trying to sell to them.
It's the way of speaking and the way of being. It's the kinds of experience that will circulate within a particular social group and distinguish it.
If I was to see somebody turn up to the gallery and they just walk straight down to the back to the courtyard and just drink and not come up here, like that would really annoy me. We'll have shows like with someone like Andrew Pommier, who's really kind of, you know, respected and like got a bit of a following here, and it'll be packed. And then we'll have a show with, like, you know, an unknown kind of person, and kind of it'll have nowhere near that sort of crowd. So it is definitely the art that kind of like initially drags people there. So that's kind of a good thing.